What's up, baby? Boom. We're live. Let's flip this bad boy around the start. We got to shine on this thing. We're live. We're talking about UFC 245. We got a really sick card coming up. Man, 3 big title fights on this card. I can't wait to watch this card. Holloway versus Volkanovski. We got Nunez versus Duran and me. We got Guzman versus Covington. We got a lot of high stakes in these fights. And but let's get started. None other than on the early prelims, the first fight of the night. We're talking Puna Soriano versus Oscar Pichota. Oscar Pichota, he has a couple fights in the UFC, 2 or 3, but he is coming off of 2 submission losses. And of course, Puna was on the Contender Series. Obviously got a lot less experience. This is his debut in the cage. And he's undefeated. He's 6-0, but Pichota has he's 11-2. He has some more experience in the cage in the UFC. He does has a knockout win against Tim Williams, but he's coming off 2 losses, so momentum is against him. Puna does train at I believe Extreme Couture in Vegas, so he's at a good gym. He has a good team, surrounded by good coaches. And one thing I noticed on the Contender Series is his wrestling looks good. His control looks good on the ground. And if we're looking at stats here, with Pichota losing by submission against his last guy for Vieira, it was 6-0 as well. Not a very experienced guy either, and he caught him in a submission and won in round 2. And Mearshart, on the other hand, he had a lot of experience, but he submitted him. So I think if Puna could play it safe and utilize his wrestling and ground control, he could at least win by points and potentially catch a submission. I'm leaning towards that. I think Puna's a younger, hungry guy coming in, has a little bit more hype behind him, and has momentum on his side. So I'm going to go with Puna by submission. Don't forget, we got that Boomachino, baby. We in here. Next up on the early prelims, we got Brendan. Oh, no. We got more. Oh, yeah. Jessica I is back. She's fighting Vivian Aru. Jessica I, obviously had that brutal knockout loss to Shevchenko. And, she's got to come back and she's got to make a big statement here. We obviously never know how somebody's going to rebound from a bad knockout loss. That's always a big topic. And that's something you gotta deal with, outside the gym, and you gotta kind of figure out and reassess, what you want to do and how you want to fight and if you want to fight and stuff like that. I feel like that, that scares people a lot from that aspect of, aggression and trying to get in there and exchange. And sometimes it takes away your style and who you are as a fighter, and it could be detrimental. So hopefully Jessica I has regathered things together and she's coming in fresh with a good mindset. I think she will. She seems strong mentally, and a lot of people get caught by Shevchenko like that. It's no shame in losing to Shevchenko, who's such a highly skilled striker. Jessica I, though, is a good boxer. She does have a lot of power in her hands. She has good movement, but I think she needs to keep her hands up and, not be affected by feints so much. But Vivian Aru is no joke as well. She's 8-1 in the division. Let's see here, where she's coming off of a decision victory against Alexis Davis, who's a veteran in the sport, been around for a while. And then before that, she also has another win. So, formerly fighting at bantamweight before, now at flyweight, so she could have, but I think Jessica I has done the same thing, has moved down from bantamweight. So no size discrepancy here. Jessica I has a significant experience advantage. Also, especially, being in the cage with Shevchenko is a big deal. And, I give the power advantage to Jessica I in this fight. I think she'll be able to utilize that boxing, get inside and cause damage on the feet, as long as she's not shy, about letting her hands go. I think she'll have a good probability of winning this fight. I'm going to give the edge to Jessica I by decision. That's going to be my pick. So Jessica I by decision. Let's move down, or up, I should say. So we're starting down low. The next fight. This is an exciting fight in the flyweight division. Brandon Moreno versus KaraFrance. I've been very impressed with KaraFrance, man. He has been really looking good with his in and out movement, his striking. Obviously, he trains at with Eugene Behrman and those guys in Auckland. And he's made significant improvements, really good gains in his game. He's really showed a diverse striking ability, mixing up takedowns with his strikes, his level changes. Everything looks really crisp with him, real technical. Brandon Moreno is still young. He's had his ups and downs in the cage. He had his hiatus out and he was back in. But he's a really tough guy, hard guy to finish. I give the edge to finishing ability to KaraFrance. He's coming off of 2 wins right now, both decisions, but very, very well fought fights. And then you got Brandon Moreno, who he's really good at taking the back. He's really good at getting submissions, but I don't see him taking down KaraFrance in this fight. I feel like it's gonna mainly stay on the feet, and I give him the advantage there. I just give him the slight advantage on the feet. Moreno's lost a decision to Pantoja in his last fight, and Pantoja is a beast, but KaraFrance has a lot of momentum going behind him, so I'm going to give him the decision victory. I think he'll get it done. He's going to outstrike Moreno and come away with a decision. All right, moving on up. We got Chase Cooper versus Daniel Tamer. Chase Cooper, another guy, 6-0, coming off the Contender Series. Obviously has that kind of like that Sean O'Malley effect, skinny, young look, to him. Gives him that aura of interest, where people are like, I wonder this kid who kind of looks like nerdy and skinny, how he's gonna do in the UFC. Young guy, believe he's only like 20 years old, but he hasn't had any losses. Daniel Tamer's had ups and downs in the UFC. He's an aggressive fighter. His brother obviously is in the UFC as well, and they're both pretty good strikers, but I would say, Daniel Tamer's a little bit less of a high-level striker than his brother. And, but he's aggressive, and he's going to try to take this kid's head off. But I think that, this is a good matchup for Chase Hooper, to make his debut. And I believe that, this is going to show whether or not he belongs. I wouldn't, bet on this fight. It's kind of a tricky fight, because Tamer, he's looked good. He's lost some fights, but he has looked pretty good. He does gas towards the later rounds. I haven't seen Chase Hooper tested. I haven't watched many of his fights. I don't know how his cardio looks or how he survives in third rounds, if he's in like a high, high-paced fight and it gets later in the rounds. But I'm gonna lean towards Chase Hooper just because he hasn't lost before. He has that momentum behind him, and I always say momentum because it's a powerful thing, man. When you believe in yourself and you haven't been beat, you really truly have a chip on your shoulder. Tamer does have his back against the wall, though. I think he's coming off 2 losses, or maybe 1-1, but hasn't had the most impressive showing, so he's got to get a big victory here. I do think the fight will go to the decision. I think Chase Hooper is going to have a length and reach advantage, and that should be to Tamer's detriment. So I'm going to go with Chase Hooper by decision, but hard fight to pick there. I would stay away from the betting on that fight. Moving to the prelims, we got Matt Brown versus Ben Saunders. Man, Matt Brown's been out for 3 years. Shout out to Immortal Coffee. Some delicious espresso blend that he sent me, so that was nice. Matt Brown, always used to have that vicious style with the elbows, the knees, the kicks. He was always an aggressive, exciting fighter to watch. Ben Saunders has taken some bad losses, but his submission game is always exciting as well. If the fight ends up on the ground, we could see Ben Saunders land another submission. We've seen Matt Brown submitted before multiple times, so that could be a potential outcome in this fight. You never know what to expect from a guy that's been out for a while like Matt Brown, especially when a guy's older like that. He's kind of on the tail end of his career. But I think this is a fair matchup. Ben Saunders is also an older guy, been in the game for long, has been finished too. I think Matt Brown has the ability to finish anybody on the feet. He's very aggressive, but this is an interesting fight as far as striking goes because Ben Saunders loves the clinch. He's got great knees, great clinch game. And once he latches onto that, you're in trouble. But Matt Brown is great inside there as well with the elbows and the knees. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen there with the striking. But I lean towards Matt Brown just based off overall skill set. I don't think he's going to get taken down. I don't think he's going to look for takedowns. It will mainly be a striking fight. I give the edge to Matt Brown. I'm going Matt Brown decision. or potential TKO. Ian Heinisch versus Amari Akhmedov. Ian Heinisch coming off of a loss, I believe, in his last fight. It was a very close fight, but I believe he lost a decision. Yeah, to Derek Brunson. And, no shame in that. Derek Brunson is a hard puzzle to solve. But Ian Heinisch has showed a lot of improvement in his wrestling and his ability to mix things up. And I think that in this fight, that will be a big advantage for him. Akhmedov's coming off a win in a decision against Zach Cummings, who I believe trains at Factory X with Ian Heinisch. So that's a good thing for them to go into the cage with a lot of knowledge of how Amari Akhmedov performs, how he feels in there. So I think he'll take some advice from Zach Cummings and use that in this fight. And I think, Ian Heinisch just has the overall better game. He'll probably out-scramble, win the positions, be able to stay on top. And I think he'll just edge out the striking advantage as well. So I'm going to go with Ian Heinisch by decision. And moving on up. On the prelims, we got Caitlyn Vieira versus Irene Aldana. Irene Aldana's got a very tall, lengthy game, good striking, but Caitlyn Vieira is a really aggressive fighter. She's also undefeated, which says a lot, 10-0. She's the younger fighter, Caitlyn Vieira. She's really tough in this bantamweight division, man. She shows a lot of durability, a lot of strength. Let's see. And she beat Kat Zingano, who's a really tough fighter that's been in that division fighting the best of the best. So that says a lot. Coming off a win over Kat is big. It was a decision, but that's a lot of good experience being in there with her. She's been in there with the better competition, in my opinion. Irene Aldana also has, taken a lot of damage in fights, I feel. She gets hit a lot. She's lost to Raquel Pennington by decision. That's a good experience matchup as well. But I'm going to lean towards the undefeated fighter, Caitlyn Vieira. I think she's going to get the job done by decision. Moving up. Jeff Neal, Mike Perry, man, this is a great fight in the welterweight division. We've seen Mike Perry in there give us some of the most exciting fights that we've ever seen. He shattered his nose against Luque, but what a fight he puts up, man. He's getting better each time out there. At first we looked at Mike Perry as such a brawling style, but I've seen a big improvement in technique at each fight he's been out there. His head movement has become better. His footwork has become better. His ability to mix things up has become better. We've seen him throw takedowns in there. His clinch game is nasty with elbows. He's really strong for the weight class, and he just poses a lot of threats. His aggression, his durability, man, to get his nose shattered like that by Luque and then just stay in the fight, and still be able to perform and still try to finish the fight and finish strong is. You got to give a guy props for that. A lot of guys would fold after that happens. So. Watch out for Mike Perry. He's got that aggression. He always has that finishing ability. He's a shark in there, but Jeff Neal is a guy who has been putting guys away, man. He's coming off a big knockout win to Nico Price, who Nico Price has a lot of hype behind him, and he finishes a lot of guys as well. He also beat Bilal Muhammad, which is a big win. To win a decision against Bilal is no easy task. That guy's been in there putting on great performances as well. Jeff Neal has that beautiful left head kick. He has very technical striking, and he's also under the coach Saif Sayoud, who has been, breeding so many great fighters out of that gym over there in Texas. I forget the name of the gym, but, he's doing big things over there. This is probably going to be one of Mike Perry's toughest fights, I would imagine. Although Luque was a really hard fight, Jeff Neal has just been demolishing guys, and he's a finisher, and he packs a lot of power. So I'm interested to see with the power fight here from both guys, like who's going to come out on top with that. Both of these guys look for the knockout. I would give Perry a little bit more advantage on like his diversity. The way he's been moving in fights is a little bit trickier. Jeff Neal's a little bit more technical and disciplined and sticking to the game plan. I feel Perry can get emotional in there. So if Jeff Neal could throw him off, get him a little bit emotional, I could see where he can land something big again. Mike Perry has a good gas tank. Jeff Neal has a good gas tank. I just give the slight edge to technique to Jeff Neal. I feel like he's just a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more sound on the feet. Both of these guys are not much of wrestlers or jiu-jitsu guys. I don't really see the fight going down there. Primarily going to be on the feet. And I wouldn't be surprised if Perry lands something that hurts Jeff Neal because he's got power and he's got big finishing ability in each hand, each elbow, each knee. The guy throws to kill every time, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna go with Jeff Neal here. I think he's gonna get the job done by decision, just by landing the more power. He probably will have Mike Perry hurt in this fight, but so hard to get him out of there. So Jeff Neal by decision. What else do we got? Moving up to the main card, we got, oh my God, what a main card this is, man. Peter Yan versus Uriah Faber. Peter Yan has just been that young lion that's been coming up in the division, running through everybody. So much hype behind him. And I got to give props to Faber for taking this fight, man. Faber coming off of that beautiful win against Ricky Simone, who, was another young prospect that was, a lot of hype behind him then. And Faber, he was in there to try to take a name off of Faber. And, Faber comes in, lands that signature overhand right, which puts Simon down. And now he's in line to, fight a guy to put himself back into a title contention at the age of 40? It's crazy. Faber's been in the game. What an OG from the WEC days. And now he's fighting a young, hungry ass guy that's killing people. Beat Jimmy Rivera. Beat John Dodson. He's got some notable wins, man, and I'm very impressed with Piotr Yan, man. He's been looking amazing in that cage. He's got a well-rounded game. He's got a diverse striking game. He trains over at Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, and I've seen some training videos. The guy trains like a savage. He's trained. He's got a very good gas tank, and he's good everywhere. His ground, his top position on the ground is very good. He beat Douglas Silva Andrade, who's a dangerous guy, and he stopped him with elbows on the ground and essentially made him quit, cut him up. So he shows discipline. He does get wild on the feet, and I could see a potential chance for Faber to land something, and take advantage of that on the feet. But I think if Faber wants to be real smart in this fight, he utilizes his level changes. He threatens the takedown a lot, maybe lands an overhand right. Peter Yan likes to pressure forward. Faber needs to keep him from pushing him back against the cage. Peter Yan does some of his best work when your back is against the cage. He lands a lot of combos. He cuts angles there. He switches stances. He has a great straight left from the southpaw angle, and he keeps his hands really high. He's always got his hands real high, head movement, and he doesn't really move his hands. His eyes are always on you through that vision, and his hands are always here. Faber, on the other hand, we've seen him in his Aldo fight, take a lot of leg kicks. Maybe Yan looks to land some leg kicks early and try to, ruin Faber's movement and then start to pick him apart from there on the feet. I think the fight will be everywhere. I think we'll see the fight on the feet, both of them getting hit, maybe potentially rocked. I think we'll see Faber try to get some takedowns and land some ground and pound. That would be a smart game plan if I was him. Even Yan might even try to take Faber down, but Faber's so good at scrambling. He's got that nasty guillotine. Watch out for a guillotine from Faber in this fight, because I could see that, because Yan might try to mix things up and shoot on Faber against the cage, and Faber's he's not shy about pulling guard on with a guillotine. So watch out for that. He could potentially get a choke. But I got to go Yan in this fight. I think he's going to win the fight by TKO. I think eventually he's just going to be too much for Faber. His striking volume is going to be too much, his angles, his power, and I feel like Faber will hang in there for a little while, but then eventually get picked apart and potentially finished later in the second or third round. So I'm going with Peter Yan by TKO. Marlon Mariahs, Jose Aldo. The big talk about this, we've seen Jose Aldo's pictures come up on the internet. Looking like he's almost already drawn out. He's moving down from 145 to bantamweight. We've seen him struggle in the past just to make 145. He's a lean guy to begin with, so a lot of worry about him making his bantamweight debut, which is warranted. I've seen pictures myself. His face looks sucked out. I'm skeptical about how he's doing this weight cut. There's been rumors about a salad diet, which is definitely not enough nutrients for how much we train as fighters. We need healthy carbohydrates. It looks like he's already started the weight cut. Meanwhile, it's like, he was a month out with these pictures. I just hope he makes the weight healthy. Let's just assume he makes the weight healthy, and then we'll talk about this fight. Technique-wise, he has a great, possibility to win this fight. He's got great fast hands, beautiful kicks. His boxing is probably better than Mariahs. I give the Muay Thai advantage to Mariahs, but the straight boxing advantage goes to Aldo. Mixes it up body head really well. I just hope he's healthy. Marlon Mariahs is so dangerous. He packs so much power in his feet and his hands. And he also has good ability to get submissions. But I don't see this fight going to the ground. I think it'll be a striking battle back and forth. I'm interested to see if Aldo looks to throw those signature kicks from the past, because we haven't really seen a guy come at Mariahs with a dangerous Muay Thai, with a lot of leg kicking. This fight right here could be a crazy kick battle. Mariahs is known more to throw head kicks as well. He mixes it up to low to high really well, but Aldo really looks to target the legs more. And I think if Aldo can target those legs and tire out Mariahs, we did see him fade against Cejudo, but that was a 5-round fight, so it's much different. So you have to come out really fast on Marlon. If I was Jose Aldo, I would come out really fast in this fight, try to push the pace on Mariahs, and really make him tired, because in that third round, if you can get him tired, he's been shown to fade a little bit. So that could be a good game plan for Aldo. But then again, with the weight cut, that might affect Aldo in the later rounds as well. I give the edge to Mariahs, though. I just think, down at bantamweight, Mariahs is comfortable making that weight consistently. He's made it over and over, and he cuts a shit ton of weight too. I've heard, he gets in the 160s, maybe even 170. He's a big guy for bantamweight, but he's made weight every time, I believe, and he gets it done professionally, and he seems to put on a lot of weight for the fight. He gets thick in there, so packs a lot of power. And you got to watch out. This first round is going to be explosive, man. I feel like they're going to come out fast. So this might end early. In my opinion, I think it will end early. I think it'll end in the first or second round. I think Mariahs will get the job done by TKO. Nunez versus Duran. Man, I love Duran. What a sweetheart. And she has great striking as well. A lot of people are underestimating her in this fight. I believe that her striking can match up well against Nunez, but they fought way back in the past on the Ultimate Fighter finale, I believe it was. And Nunez showed a weakness in Duran by taking her down, mounting her. It seemed like her top pressure was too much. And I could see Nunez doing that again in this fight. I could see a similar fight happening. Hopefully, Duran has worked on her takedown defense and come sharp, because Nunez is aggressive, but Duran has that precision, accuracy, and I could see her being able to land on Nunez, but Nunez just has so much power, for that weight class. Knocking out Cyborg like that was unbelievable. Everybody was like, wow, man, this is the GOAT of the women's division. And she's one of the best in the world. So this fight, striking wise, really interesting puzzle. I feel like it can go both ways on the feet. We could see both of them get hurt, but I think they're both going to give a lot of respect to each other on the feet. We're not going to see like a brawl like the Cyborg fight. I feel like there was a lot of emotion in that fight. I think we're going to see a more tactical, slow-paced fight on the feet, and then I think we're going to see Nunez shoot in for takedowns. I think she's going to set it up, try to back Duran against the cage, and get those takedowns on the cage. And her passing game, her mount game, her ground and pound is going to be a big difference. If Duran has not made significant improvements there from the first fight, that's where I see this fight going. And I see Nunez being able to finish the fight eventually on the ground by either ground and pound or submission. Holloway versus Volkanovski. Man, Max Holloway is one of my favorite fighters to watch. The way that this guy cuts angles from left and right, his ability to switch stances, from southpaw to orthodox, he's equally as good on both sides. it's funny because a lot of people talk about the reach in this fight, but Volkanovski, the shorter, stockier guy, has the longer arms. So we got to keep that in mind. Volkanovski also packs a lot of power. A lot of people comparing him to Edgar and similar size, similar style to fight Holloway. Holloway picked Edgar apart. I understand where that's coming from, but I don't agree with that. I feel Volkanovski is a lot more aggressive than Edgar. I believe he's stronger. I believe he packs more power. He's just a little bit more scary, when he hits you. We've seen him shut down Aldo, which Edgar has had trouble with Aldo. MMA math just does not add up. I believe Volkanovski's forward pressure could cause problems for Max, but Max's angles are going to be a big advantage for him in this fight. The way that he cuts angles and his volume striking. If Max Holloway could really utilize his volume and be accurate with those punches, establish his jab, establish his movement, his timing, he could give Volkanovski a lot of problems. But Volkanovski's a guy that doesn't go away. He doesn't back down. He doesn't get hurt. He doesn't, get overwhelmed. So really interested to see how this fight plays out, man. I feel like it's going to go 5 rounds. I feel like we're going to see Holloway tested. We might even see him rocked and hurt in this fight, but I think he'll be able to, stick it out. I think he'll be able to land that volume eventually. And I think that he will be able to begin to pick apart Volkanovski, but just not enough to get a finish. I feel like Volkanovski is too tough to get put away. And I think we're going to see a judge's scorecard. And I think it could go either way. We're going to see a fight where it's going to be very hard to score. Did Volkanovski knock down Holloway? Did that do enough in that round? Did he take Holloway down a couple times? Did that edge out the round? Did Holloway's volume edge out the round? Did he land more strikes? It's going to be one of those fights where it's really hard to judge, but you got to beat the fucking champ. And I don't know if that's going to happen. The best is blessed. Choo choo. Get on the Blessed Express. Max Holloway by decision. He's going to keep his title. Nunez keeps her title. Holloway keeps her title. Now we got Usman Covington. Man, this fight is interesting to me because Covington has the volume advantage as far as significant output and strikes. Kamaru has the power advantage slightly, in my opinion. Covington has a little bit more volume and distractions against the cage as far as setting up takedowns. Kamaru Usman has the better forward pressure and the better ability to put guys' backs against the cage. Covington has the more diverse striking attacks, elbows, kicks, knees, volume of combinations. Usman has a lot more power, not a lot more, but more power in his right hand, his left hook. Man, I don't know what to think about this fight. I look at this fight and I see 2 guys that are going to negate each other in almost every area. I feel like the only advantage that I could see in this fight where a problem might be caused is Colby Covington's ability to continue to strike. What he did to Robbie Lawler was so impressive. We'd never seen Robbie Lawler shut down like that bad, and that was by striking. That wasn't even by the wrestling. I mean, he was mixing in takedowns. He was really keeping him guessing, but he was outstriking Lawler. He was throwing more volume. He was landing more shots. He was landing spinning attacks. He was landing head kicks. I was impressed with Covington's ability to display his well-rounded skills in that fight. And in all honesty, I think people underestimate Covington because of his shtick, the way that he acts, the suit that he wears, the MAGA hat and all that stuff, and his personality. People are like, this guy's a fucking joke, he's all talk, he's all hype, he's a character, but his fighting skills have backed up everything that he said, everything that he's done. You cannot go against that. You can't underestimate the ability this guy has to put guys away, to beat guys as far as technique goes, just because of the way he talks. I feel like it's a genius move. It's almost like a disguisal on how good he really is as a fighter, because people underestimate him because they look at it like a joke. But Usman is coming into this fight a little bit emotional, if you ask me. And I think that could be a downfall. When you're emotional, when you really want to hurt someone and you bring that into the cage, and you try to hurt them and it's not going well and you're not knocking them out and you're not, you're overutilizing a lot of your strength and a lot of your tension, and that could tire you out more than other fights that you've been in, that you've went in just focused, just as a regular fight, just as an athlete wanting to win a fight but not having any personal issue. Colby Covington is in Usman's head, in my opinion, without him saying it or admitting it. I just believe that's true. The way that Usman says, I can't wait to hurt this guy. I can't wait to get my hands on him. That's just a bad sign for me, in my opinion, because Usman's never fought anybody like that, where he was emotional, where he really wanted to hurt them, where he really was annoyed by them, where he had bad intentions. And I think that eventually, as this fight plays out, we may see Colby Covington actually tire out Usman. We may actually see Kamaru Usman look a little bit tired, because we've seen him bully guys. We've seen him push guys back. We've seen him tire guys out. And what happens in fights is when you're starting to see a guy break, you get more energy, you get more confidence. But when you don't see a guy breaking and a guy is in your face and a guy is throwing nonstop punches at you, and it's a scrap, that's when we see the real cardio, the real heart, the real will. And in this fight, we're gonna see that. We're gonna see what these guys, who has the more will, who has the more heart, who has the real cardio, advantage. And it's just so hard to say on paper, because I feel like it's so equal from what we've seen so far, from the evidence we've been shown. But something about this fight, I just feel like Colby could do it. I want Kamaru to win because I like the guy, but I just feel Colby's going to get it done. I just feel like his striking and his volume output is going to be a problem eventually, because I think the wrestling will somewhat get negated. I think that they'll both be able to stop each other's takedowns if there are takedowns. And I think that if it ends up primarily on the feet, the edge goes to Covington. And he's going to squeak out a decision by points. I don't know if he'll finish Kamaru, but I think he'll outstrike him. And I think he'll do, he'll have a lot more significant strikes landed. So I'm going Covington by decision. And what is going to happen then, man, if Covington wins this title? It's going to be fucking crazy. I'm going to get to some questions, some fan questions. What's good, Brian? Dave Stevenson. What's up, man? I was about to say Perry is adaptable, but for sure emotional. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he adapts, but he gets crazy in there sometimes. That could be to your detriment. Hugo Ordonez. LOLs, you're getting more views here than the gram, though. Welcome to the YouTube, my friend. Thank you, my brother. I thought Instagram Live was doing better for me. Gold Caps, how you going to deal with the Somali pirate? I don't even know what that means. Fuck them. That's all I got to say. Keel Grice, there's going to be so much pressure on Usman to beat Colby after all the shit talk. Yeah, a lot of pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, or pressure makes you fold, So, I don't know, man. There is a lot of pressure, and I feel like he's coming in emotional, and I feel like that could be a bad thing for him. So we'll see. Kyle Grease, wonder how it affects him if things start going Colby's way in the fight. Yeah. Colby, if he throws the amount of strikes he threw at Robbie Lawler, we could see some crazy shit happening there. It's gonna be wild. Gold Caps, I was thinking the same thing about Usman, too emotional. Yeah, I hope he could tune that out. I hope he could just bring a focus in there, stick to his game plan, and not get crazy. I think that when he gets in the cage and he looks across at Colby and Colby's sticking his tongue out and smiling and fucking with him, it's gonna get in his head a little bit. It could be bad. Eldred Jonas. Colby is better, although they are both very evenly matched. I agree. Very even match. As long as emotions don't play a role, it's hard to see how this fight will play out. Gold Caps, your next opponent. How am I going to deal with him? How's he going to deal with me? That's how I'm going to deal with him. How's he going to deal with me? Because it's not the same boom from last fight, man. I'm coming in there hungry. I'm coming in there 0-0. I'm coming in there to keep my job. I'm coming in there to kill. I'm coming in there to stay relevant. I'm coming in there to show myself how good I really know that I am. Eldra Jonas, not sure if you've been asked this, but your previous opponent Barral released thoughts. You know what? It's they given him enough chances. You know, he's taken a lot of damage. He's taken so many bad losses. You know, and it just shows that he's not the same fighter. You know, he's losing to lower level, not lower level, but not the upper echelon of guys. And you know, it's just they got to let him move on. You know, if he wants to continue fighting, he maybe goes to Bellator, you know, and get some wins over there. But you know, he needs to reassess what he wants to do. He tried things at 35, he tried things at 45. It's just not working out. I mean, what did he lose, like 6 fights? You know, so they gave him a lot of chances. But let's see what we got over here on Twitter. And if you guys want to keep rallying away, that's fine. I'll get to some more questions from you guys. From Twitter, B High G at GD6ILLY. Don't even know how to pronounce that, but all 3 change hands. He thinks all 3 titles change hands. I don't know about that. I think maybe Usman's title is the only one that changes hands, in my opinion. I think the other 2 keep it. What do you reckon is Volkanovski's best chances of beating Max? His best chances of beating Max is aggression, forward pressure, mixing up his strikes with his takedowns, not allowing Max Holloway to get in his groove, to find his rhythm, to find his patois. You know, once Max starts to find his rhythm and his range, it's trouble. He's starting to jab you up. He's starting to cut angles and switch stances and land strikes while you miss. It gets overwhelming. So he can't allow Max to get there. He has to be in his face early. He has to shut down his game, and he has to close the distance and really land some power shots early, I feel. And that was from Mark Torby on Twitter. At Hyuga Sage, to Volkanovski to be crowned new featherweight king. All right, that's your opinion. I think Max is the best is blessed, baby. At Plan Plate, at Michael Plana, who gets the loudest pop from the audience for their walkout? My guess is Uriah Faber or Kamaru Usman after the boos for Colby Covington. Loudest pop. Honestly, my guess is going to be either Uriah Faber, because when that California Love song pops, they go nuts for him. You hear those ladies chanting and shit. Or Max Holloway, you know, this is the 9th island, right? Vegas. They love Holloway in Vegas. So I can see him getting a big pop too. At Isabella Ortiz, my 2 favorite is Uriah Faber and Usman. I'm voting for Usman. He's going to show Covington how it's done. Hey, I hope he does, but that one's tough, man. It's hard to call that one. I really don't know what to say about that fight. It's crazy. Very interesting style matchup there, but we'll see what happens. And that's that. That's Twitter questions. If you guys have any more, get crack-a-lack and I'll get to them. We got about 5 more minutes on here, I'd say, and then I'm out of here. Instagram. Jeez, man. No fucking DMs on Instagram. You guys are slacking. Where my boomerangs at? Where the fans at? Gold caps. Congrats and good luck, sir. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Awesome that you're on the same card as Cowboy McGregor. Yes. Actually, funny story. I was in Vegas for my birthday with my brother at the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz fight, the second fight. And I met McGregor at the weigh-ins. I was all excited. I remember being at the weigh-ins and the Irish fans going nuts. And at that point, I was on a 6 or 7 fight win streak, and I hadn't been signed by the UFC yet. And I remember getting emotional at the weigh-ins, and I got teary-eyed, and I thought to myself, I'm going to be here soon. This is going to be me. very soon I'm going to be up there on that stage, and I can't wait. I can't wait to make my debut. And I was out there with a mission. I was there as a fan, uh, enjoying the event. But I remember I got to the arena on fight night. Let me go back. I on weigh-in day, I jumped on Conor McGregor's car, his Escalade transportation car, and I gave him a handshake. I was fanboying out. I remember meeting him, and it was crazy. The car was actually moving, and I was on the side of the car, standing, holding onto the window while it was slightly moving, saying "What's up" to Conor. I jumped off the car, it took off, and then on fight night, I made my way down to the bar. I made my way down to the floor level, and I saw Dana White walking out, and I stopped him, and I showed him the video of my spinning back fist knockout, and because he was there live watching me fight for Dana White's show, looking for a fight. And I said, Dana, you remember this? I said, I'm ready, man. It's my time. Sign me. I'm ready. I got to get in there. I'm ready to do this. This is my dream. Like, look, I knocked this guy out. You were there. Look what you said. You were impressed. I'm on a 6-fight win streak. Give me my chance. Please give me my chance. And he looked at me and he was like, just kind of acknowledged it, but didn't really say anything. And he was kind of like, I remember, and he walked away, and I saw Sean Shelby and I showed him the same thing. And it took a year, after that. It took like 8 or 9 months until I got the call. I was swimming. My brother got to the gym. We usually would train together, but he wasn't training that day. He said I couldn't make it to train. But I see him walk into the pool area while I'm swimming, and I'm like, what is he doing here? That's weird. He told me he couldn't train. And he says, you got to call your manager right now. You got to get out of the pool. You got to call him right now. And that was my call for my debut against Yuri Alcantara in Brazil. It was crazy, man. I hopped back in the pool. I did like 30 more laps. I was fired up, and it was emotional, man. It was awesome. But I'll never forget that when I showed up in Vegas and I felt that, that energy in the crowd at the weigh-ins. It was just something special to be at a Conor event. And now here I am fighting on the same card as him years later. It's surreal. And it's cool to see it all unfold like this. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate that. Minimac JWM. What's your best advice to someone who is young trying to get into MMA? My best advice is to find a good gym with trustable coaches and fighters that are better than you, that are willing to take you under their wing to learn from, and stay disciplined, stay focused, stay consistent, eat healthy, stay in shape, stay persistent. You're going to lose in the gym. You're going to face ups and downs, but stay positive and keep your mind focused and keep your faith high. Through the wins and losses, never lose self-belief, because that's what's going to take you to the top level and beyond, so keep going, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Boom.